Hello, my name is Noelle Polay, and this guy is went the right direction. This is my grandson Paulie, Alan Greco, who is one of the reasons I'm excited about what I share, which is peace work. And this video is made because of a involvement with my beautiful spiritual grounded community called Earthwaking Village, and I'm a student of Earthwaking University, and I am taking a global movement mastery course, and it's a year-long program, and this is one of my first assignments. And it is to make a video describing my passion, what I want to get out there in the world, and why. And I have actually been working to get my passion out in the world for 30 years already, and I will tell you why. But first, let me start with where it comes from. Peace work was an adaptation of something called the Alternatives to Violence Project. And the Alternatives to Violence Project is a program in prisons. It started in New York State in 1975. It was the product of the Attica uprising, people incarcerated in the Attica prison and others in the area, but were absolutely not getting their needs met in any sense. And they're just, it came to a head, and there was an uprising, riot, trauma, tear gas, blood, gore, death. And people were farmed after the dust settled to prisons all around New York State. And some of them ended up in Greenhaven, which was not that far from my home. So in 1992, I had my first experience attending a 3-day workshop, Alternatives to Violence Project workshop. They tend to run 18 to 22 hours. So that's usually like a little bit on a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday. And it was incredibly transformative. I was somebody who had been in and out of mental hospitals in my younger life up until that point. And I was not the same person at the end of the 3 days that I was when I came in. And I knew this is something I want to bring to people who are struggling. I had been diagnosed first when I was 6 years old. So I spent a lot of my life with a lot of emotional and mental strife going on. And this was such a healing thing. So Alternatives to Violence Project has spread at this point into prisons and other locations all over America and into 65 other countries. It is that amazing. And most of that spread has been through volunteer. Recently, there has been some adjustments that people can get paid if grants are discovered. But for most of that time, it was strictly volunteer work, word of mouth, and the fact that people by droves were transforming. A lot of incarcerated people coming out and doing amazing things with this. And I am one of those people who wants to do something because I want to make sure everybody knows about this and how to do it. So I have created Peace Work because as a person who wanted to bring this to the mental realm, I can't call it mental health because they're not always very healthy functioning situations, but they are focused on mentality and emotionality and trauma and things like that. So peace work was something that I could bring in any kind of packaging. I could do it for an hour, I could do it for a half a day, I could do it for a day-long program, but it was very rare that anybody was going to give me 18 to 22 hours. So I had to make an adaptation of Alternatives to Violence Project. So I did that, and I got opportunities through working in the peer movement, peer recovery movements. I worked for 2 different organizations that were specifically like run by people who had been diagnosed and gotten healthier. And then I was hired to do things like bring it to staff trainings. You know, what is it that principles of peer assisted healing? Why is it that peers help each other heal so well? So I was able to take the AVP format and modify it in ways, create my own exercises, modify other exercises, create agendas so that I can invite people into circles to explore the notion that actually people who have psychiatric diagnosis or addiction issues are no different than anybody else, that we maybe had some more trauma that we're coping with, that maybe we don't have certain skills, insights, things like that. All of that can be gained. So I was doing that for a number of years, and then through my journeys, I just started plugging it in every which where, because it really is a one size fits all kind of amazing process that I should call it a a model or a format that is extremely engaging. It is extremely transformative. So I have used it with homeless people in homeless shelters. I've used it with children. I've used it with teenagers. I did it in my son's school for 6 years, high school, and then it ran for another 6 years after I left. It might have come back. The students demanded that it continue. So staff turned over, and that also happened in the mental health system, where I would train folks and I would leave, and the inmates would run the asylum. The staff would come and go, but because the people who were experiencing the process loved it so much, it just kept going in day programs and things like that. So just boards, using it. One of my big finds was family circles, doing it with families. It's tremendously adaptive, and in families, there's ways to invite conflict. Not like you've got these energies, these conflict energies, but there's exercises where you can get that energy out without direct confrontation, and lots of affirmation, lots of playful activities. So this process is phenomenal, and I intend to teach it. I intend to build an enclave around myself, moving in a direction together. And the beauty of it is that as we learn how to do it, and it's really rather a simple format, there's skill involved with being able to hold the group in safety, but it doesn't take too long, because the group itself, once it starts to gel, will keep that safety itself. It's something that really invites all of us to participate as the sovereign beings we are. I look at the totem animal of this process as the birds that fly in flocks, and somebody's the leader at this point, and then they move and somebody else is the leader. And this is kind of how it works in a well-functioning piecework circle. So my dream is that, like yoga, it becomes a familiar term. And so everybody knows what they're going to get into when they go to piecework, but each person could be developing this to the tune of their own unique flavor, their own passion. So I love yoga, so I'm going to do a piecework where we do an introduction about yoga, then we do a little grounding exercise that gets us in the mood, and then we do a gathering statement where we all talk about a time I experienced yoga and it changed my life was, and then we do a yoga exercise, and then we process that exercise. How was that for you? What did it bring up? Then we do a little light and lively, which is just a chance to play like children, and then maybe another yoga exercise, and then an affectionate closing. So that's the basic structure of a piecework experience. But I can't tell you how wonderful and transformative that is when you're doing it with people. You show up with folks you don't know maybe, and within like 10, 20 minutes, you're feeling, wow, this is wonderful. And by the end of it, you're like a family. It's a small world after all. Particularly beautiful when you see 25, men in prison uniform coming to that place. So I invite everybody to subscribe, like this, encourage me, sign on. I hope to have some form of membership or subscription. I need to make a living, and I'm hoping to make a very good one. My dream is that, and not so much for me, but so we can do this. I'm doing it with veterans right now, and the idea that veterans can do this and learn to do it well, and then train others, and then spread it among veterans. There's too many people killing themselves right now. It's not necessary, because this is something that would change that. It really, really is. So if you feel that kind of fire in your belly, maybe I want to find out more about this, be in touch. Heartcircleconsulting.com is my website. There's a free toolkit, piecework toolkit, 110 pages that explains this in great detail. So I'm hoping that all together, we sign on. Anything that's your passion, you don't have to, only do it piecework, but if you do it piecework, you're going to have a little community around your passion, and that's a healthy world when we're all doing that. So thank you so much for your time.